Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna try to sit this up. I'm sorry if people were trying to go to the other video, and we're gonna see if I can't figure this out. Technology is not my friend. So hopefully people find the video live, and I'll just hope for the best here, because honestly, I hate computers. So, and I'm dropping all of my things. So, okay. I have like two different systems going so I can like see comments and things. I don't even know if this is going to work. So, we'll see how it goes. So this is going to be the live show discussion for The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I hope everyone read it this month and has things to talk about, because I'm excited to chat with all of you about it. I was going to try to set this up behind me. Maybe I can put it like there so people can see it. Hopefully everything's working. And so, yeah. Anyway, so I thought I would just give a minute for people to come in, because I know people were probably at the other video, wouldn't let me go there on my phone. I was really, really stressed out about it. But whatever, we're doing the best we can. So I've got my tea, I've got the book, I've got my notes. I have notes for the book. Oh, I also have Post-it notes that I stuck in the book as I was reading. I thought it'd be fun to read you guys my in process thoughts as I was reading the book, because, something to talk about. So anyway, this is not the kind of book I typically gravitate towards. I do read thrillers once in a while, but I have to say that it isn't something I pick up on a regular basis. I am trying to add more thrillers into my reading, but I tend, if I'm going to read something like that, I think I would rather have horror than thriller. I think I prefer, like, if you're going to go there than to skirt around it and make it into something more realistic or less dark. I don't know. Maybe there's some really good dark thrillers. Maybe that's what I need. I thought that's what this is going to be, and I was slightly disappointed that it wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be. So there's that. But I did enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5 stars, and that's mostly because of the ending that I thought was just very okay. After all the buildup, I wanted a better ending. And I just was disappointed that the ending didn't meet my expectations of the rest of the story, because I thought it was going a whole different direction than it did. And that left me kind of just frustrated with the way the book ended. So if you're here, say hi so I can see that my chat is working, because last time the phone wouldn't cooperate and I couldn't see the chat. So I had Sarah next to me with her phone and she was able to get the chat on hers. But I've got my laptop here so that hopefully the chat will show up. I don't know. Hopefully it will cooperate. But anywho, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you the things that I liked and disliked about the book. Obviously, I've already said I disliked the ending, but the things I did like about The Turn of the Key, I liked the way it was written. I liked the whole, like, it was a letter. That was pretty cool. I liked to see that she's right, that the whole novel was like her letter to the lawyer. I thought that was really interesting, and I really appreciated the way that it was written. And like her coming in during the story to interrupt and be like, well, I don't know you saw this in the papers. And so it would always like pull me out of the story for a second, and then I would be like, oh, that was really interesting that she made me think like that. But I liked the way it was written a lot. I really liked the atmosphere. I love a good Gothic like story. I loved the smart house thing, because technology sometimes freaks me out, and the whole idea of like everything in the house being connected, and that the owners of the house could like be spying on you at any given time, and like everything is almost sort of out of your control because somebody else is able to control it. I just really liked that a lot. And I thought that was a really neat, like, modern haunted house kind of a story. I thought that was cool. And I thought it was neat how the house had two faces because half of it was like the really old manor house and half of it was like the modern technological, like sleek. So she mentioned a couple different times how the house had two different faces, and so did Rowan or Rachel. I thought that was really neat. So I appreciated that in the story. I also liked the fact that the kids were really creepy. I enjoy that. It just didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. I also really like a paranoia vibe running through a story. That's why I liked Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I loved just the whole idea that you don't know who you can trust. So I really liked that. And what I didn't like is that like I hated every character, every single one. I didn't like anybody, and I was so disappointed. I mean, I don't mind unlikable characters, but I do want to be able to root for somebody. And there was no one in the story that I was rooting for at any time at all. And so that was frustrating. Oh, Jasmine says that you read Turn of the Screw first. I wanted to. That was my plan, and I didn't get to it. And I was kind of annoyed with myself, but I had Sarah, who has read Turn of the Screw, give me like a Cliff Notes version so I would know what the differences were. Shannon, you were rooting for the dogs. You know what? Okay, I can see that. They were likable, but there wasn't enough of them. I wish that there had been more dog stuff. I also didn't like the fact that there were so many red herrings that went nowhere. It was just too many. Like, and I have in my notes too, like I kept thinking that Jack was suspicious. And the fact that the house was like had all these awful things happen, the whole history of the house, like none of that really came into play. And I didn't like that there were so many like things thrown out there as potential, like this is what's happening, and none of them really went anywhere. And I just was frustrated that like nothing that I thought was going to happen happened. So I didn't appreciate that. And I think the way it ended, it was just too simple and too like neat. And I wanted it to be like more than that. I don't know. I think I really wanted there to be supernatural elements happening in the story because they kept pushing that in the narrative. And I thought, okay, certainly there's going to be ghosts or something. And it just, there wasn't. And it was so frustrating to me. But yeah, oh Shannon, you wanted us to know what happened. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she wanted the story to be just vague enough that we could draw our own conclusions, except the fact that then she went and told us what happened. And that it was just the kids. And I don't know. I didn't like the ending at all. And it kind of messed up my feelings for the book because up until then I was really enjoying it. So, oh, Mickey says, what do you think happened? Based on the fact that at the end of the book, it says the letters were never sent. So I think she's in jail. I think that she didn't tell anybody about the letter from Ellie, and she just took the fall and tried to protect her half sister by being the one that got in trouble for it. That's what I think. But it was left so vague that I'm not sure, but I'm pretty certain, like that's the way I interpreted it, that she ended up going to jail anyway to protect Ellie. Although honestly, I don't know that Ellie would have really gotten into that much trouble outside of like her parents being upset with her about it and maybe putting her through therapy, but she's what, 5? I don't think that she would have like, I don't know what would have happened to her if they'd told. But I get the feeling that she definitely took the fall. And so I thought I would just show you guys. I didn't want to tab up the book too much because I wasn't sure I was going to keep it when I was done, if I liked it enough. So I just like stuck Post-its in as I was going. And so I thought I would just like randomly read you my Post-its because I thought that might be fun. There's not that many, but I have a Post-it. This is Jack is a red herring. I have a Post-it that says Maddie controlled by ghosts. And then I think this had to be the part where they were talking about the poison garden. And it says related to Jack, grandfather, father, maybe he isn't a red herring after all. I had a lot of thoughts about Jack, and I'm really mad that none of them went anywhere. And then I have evil secret ghost attic is evil. Ghosts are controlling Maddie. I was so certain there were ghosts. And then I put in like smaller print, is Jack involved? No. And then I wrote down, is it weird that she's telling Mr. Wrexham that she slept with Jack? I don't know. I felt like that was such random information to share. Like, why do we need to tell the lawyer that you had sex with him? I don't think he needed to know that information. It had no bearing on anything. Yes, Shannon, I did too. I wanted ghosts. Like, I felt that, like, I was so sure that's what was happening. And now I'm so mad that it isn't. And then I wrote down, ew, her father was perving on her and she stayed anyway. Like, I don't know. If that had been me that first night, I'd been like, yeah, no, money's not worth it. I'm gone. Like, I don't know why she stayed after that. If her whole goal was to be near her father and be around him and like get to know him, and you find out your first day meeting him that he's just a creeper and he's hitting on you, and like, I don't know why you would stay with that. And then the very end of the book, I just wrote kids, because just kids the whole time. I'm not sure an 8-year-old is really capable of this level of crazy. I don't know. So that sums up my feelings about the book, really. That I don't know if I believe that a little kid was able to accomplish all of this. I think I'd have believed it more if it had been the teenage daughter. But I don't know. I'm just not sure how I feel about all of that. Yeah, I would have bought a demon possession too. I don't know. Amanda says, I thought maybe the letter was never figured out because she voice scribed it and it didn't say Dear Rowan, it said Dear Owen. And also the to, from, and subject was never filled out. Maybe no one ever knew who it was supposed to be for. Well, I get the feeling that it was brought to her by the housekeeper and that she knew what it was. Well, not what was in it, but she knew that it was a letter meant for Rowan and that they hadn't read it. So, yeah. But I don't know that I really believe that I can like go along with such a young child being capable of pulling that off in the ways that she did. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It kind of, the more I think about it, the more it bothers me. I think that if you're going to do crazy kids as your whole thing, that I feel like the older daughter, Rhiannon, is that her name? And she needed to be the one like orchestrating it, because otherwise I don't know that I believe it. Oh, I wondered if they suspected that. Mickey says, I kind of got the impression from the housekeeper letter that they wanted to know what was in the letter no matter what, like they already suspected. I don't know. Do you think they did suspect it? I'm not sure that I would believe that's what happened. I'm fairly certain they were convinced that it was Rowan or Rachel that had done it. I don't know that they would have suspected Ellie at all in that, but I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I wanted it so badly to be ghosts. I think that I had like my hopes set on that so much that when it wasn't that, I was just I wouldn't say it ruined the book for me because I did enjoy the reading of it, but I would say that it tarnished it a bit. So, okay, so those are my thoughts. I thought now I would throw some questions out. I wrote down a list of questions as I was reading, and after I finished, I kind of organized it better. So maybe we can discuss some of this. So, we already kind of touched on it, but I wrote down, did Ellie's letter get Rowan out of prison, and what happened to Ellie? Or did Rachel take the fall to protect Ellie? I'm pretty sure she took the fall. I don't think she told anybody about the letter because I got the feeling that I think it said it in the book too, that all the letters were still there in the jail. Like she never sent the letter to Mr. Wrexham at all. And I'm pretty sure no one ever saw the letter from Ellie except for Rowan. So I think that Rowan just went ahead and went to jail and accepted her fate to protect Ellie. But yeah, I do think it's weird that she did that because I'm still convinced like nothing bad really would have happened to Ellie. There was no reason to take the fall. I don't know why you would do that because she was 5. They're not going to put her in jail. I don't even think they would do much more than just maybe have her get some therapy because obviously she needed it. Because now the poor child is going to live her whole life with that weight on her shoulders, knowing that she murdered her sister. So I don't know, and I feel like she should have said something about it, but yeah, I don't know why she would do that. And that's the other thing that the more I think about it, the more it bothers me that she would take the fall and not get out of jail. But I don't know. It's weird. Okay, so then I wrote down, would you want to live in a smart home? And after, well, I don't think I would anyway, but definitely after reading this book, I definitely would not because I don't like all of that technology. I don't like the idea of being in a room and having somebody in another room be able to control what's happening in the room I'm in. I don't know. That kind of freaks me out a little. The idea that the Ellen courts are in like another country and that they could control the house and see what was happening totally freaks me out. And I don't like that. I don't like the feeling of being watched anyway, says the person on a live stream. But I also just don't think that I would be comfortable in a house where I knew other people were watching me. Like, I would never be able to handle like being on a reality TV show or anything like that because I don't like the idea of being watched. So that house, the whole idea of like someone's always watching you and that you have to constantly be thinking, did they see me do that? I don't like that. So yeah, I would not want to live in a house like that. The whole idea of having everything run by an app was freaking me out the whole time. Amanda says, what do you think was the creepiest part of the book? Well, knowing now what I know, it's not that creepy, but in the reading of the book, I loved the whole creepy attic scene when they open the door and go up into this attic that they didn't know was there. That was so creepy. And I was so excited in that moment because I felt I was justified in believing it was ghosts. I was like, finally, proof. Yeah, and the doll head rolling out. Oh, I didn't like that. And then when she got cut on the doll head, I didn't like that either. I don't like the idea of like getting injured and getting cut and stuff. I don't know. That freaked me out. And so, yeah. And then I kept thinking, like, you don't know where that doll head's been. Now you have evil germs. It was so gross. I didn't like it. So yeah, that was definitely very creepy. Okay, here's another fun question. Somebody, yeah, Jasmine said, how did Maddie get in the attic? That is the other thing that I'm like, how does this work? Because if you're going along with what happens at the end of the book, and she says that she was in her room, in Rowan's room, climbing out the window to go up to the attic. How was she doing this the whole time? And Rowan doesn't know that there's a person in her room. She's awake all the time. Like it says in the book, she has insomnia. How is she not seeing this? I don't know. Yeah, with all the cameras, how do they never see the kids scaling the walls? Exactly. I don't understand how Maddie was able to pull it off. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Guess she wanted a way to logically wrap it up, but I feel like she was going with ghosts up until the end of the book and then was like, nope, it was the kids. Like, I don't know why it happened like that. It didn't work for me at all. Do you think the Ellen Court parents are to blame for Maddie's death? I feel like they are. I think this is their fault entirely because they have chosen to like leave their kids with basically a stranger for weeks at a time. Who does that? I was so bothered by their like lack of parenting skills. And Sarah did tell me, because I haven't read Turn of the Screw, but she did. And so I asked Sarah to explain, like, what happens in The Turn of the Screw? Like, how is it similar? And she says that basically in The Turn of the Screw, I guess, I don't know if it's their father or their uncle, basically wants nothing to do with the kids and just like, here, go live with the governess, basically. So, like, I guess that they were trying to do that in the story by having the parents be so like out of the picture, but it really bothered me that they were just so ready to leave for weeks at a time, and they don't even know this person. Like, she met her once and then was like, "Great, you're hired. We're gone. Have fun. Here's a book with all the information you need." Like, who does that? I felt like they were really awful parents. And if they had been more involved and maybe had taken a week or two to stay home and make sure that Rowan was settled, potentially this wouldn't have happened. But I don't know. I feel like they were bad parents, and they are partially, at least, to blame for the death of their daughter. Let's see. Oh, yeah, especially with all the turnover of the nannies. The fact that this was their, what, fourth or fifth nanny? I think she was the fifth nanny. Didn't they say four before her? So five nannies in. You would think that they'd pay better attention to what's going on. I don't know. Ooh, and the mother was likely always trying to keep tabs on the father with infidelity. Yeah. I wonder how much of that she was aware of and if she was expecting it to happen again, because I don't know. I felt the whole time like they were just awful people, and like all of them were awful. And the fact that Rachel was willing to stay anyway, knowing that her father was such a sleaze, and like, at what point were you gonna be comfortable living in the house with him when he comes back? Like, do you really wanna be involved in this? I don't know. I felt that was very weird. Okay, so what else did I write down? Okay, yeah, so then I wrote, "Did you believe Rachel's intent in taking the job? And how did she feel about her father before and after?" I just feel like I don't buy that her whole reason for taking this job was to just get to know her father, because she got to know him pretty quickly the first night on the job, and that would have been enough for just about anybody, I think. I don't know why she felt like she needed to stay, knowing that he was a gross person and that that wasn't gonna not be a thing. He was gonna be gross the whole time. And was she ever gonna tell them that she was his daughter? Or was she just gonna try to play it off as the nanny and have him keep hitting on her? I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, it did, Shannon. The whole thing did feel really disingenuous. Like, she's not a person you could trust, and none of them were really, but like the fact that she was trying to play it off as, I just wanted to get to know my dad. I don't know. It just felt wrong. I mean, I understand that she's an unreliable narrator, but I wonder how much of that she believed and how much of that she was trying to make herself believe. Maybe Jennifer says, "I thought maybe she was staying for her sisters." It could be that. But she also seemed to have a really hard time with them. And I don't know how much of it was her just not being a person that can handle being around children as much. I mean, I get that she worked as a nanny before this, but these were obviously troubled children. And I don't know. That's the other thing that really bothered me about the parents, is that they knew that Maddie was difficult, and it basically summed it up to her as, "Oh yeah, Maddie's a challenge. Have fun." I don't understand why they would do that. Okay, Brian says, "Yeah, I think she loved the sisters and wanted to take care of them. She was always seeing a reflection of her defiance in them and wanted to help." I guess I can buy that she wanted to be closer to her sisters. But again, was she ever going to tell them that she was their sister? I don't know. But I do feel like she had made a connection with Rhiannon towards the end, even though it didn't really go anywhere. And I don't know that she would have ever gotten through to Maddie. I feel like Maddie was just like not having it ever. Amanda says, do you have a live book club every month? I'm trying to. That's the goal. Yeah. Shannon says the oldest daughter found Rowan's real name in like a 30-second Google search, yet the parents didn't bother to look that deep before the kids were with them. Exactly. Like, who does that? Like, I don't understand. But maybe it's because I'm a homeschool mom. I'm always with my kids. And like, I don't even like do babysitters very often. And even when I do, it's usually someone that I'm related to and that I know really well. I don't leave my kids with people very often. And I just don't understand the idea of hiring a nanny, meeting her once, and then leaving the country and having her with your children while you're out of the country for weeks. I was baffled. And it bothered me a lot the whole time I was reading it. Like, these are not good parents. I don't know. I just felt really like that was wrong. Okay, and then I wrote down, did the ending surprise you? Did you find it a satisfying conclusion to the story? And I'm going to say no, I didn't like it. It bothered me a lot. I think I've talked about that enough here. Oh yeah, and the fact that they have a poison garden in their backyard. That they are like, "Oh yeah, don't go in the poison garden. It's poison and it's dangerous." And like the kids are in the garden. Like they took her there. So obviously they've been there before, and that's crazy to me that they have this poison garden that they're not locking up. They're leaving the country with their children with a stranger. I don't know. Yeah. And the fact that they never mentioned it to her that there was a poison garden. Like that seems like it's pretty important information to share. I don't know. I think I'd want to know that. I would want people to know that if you're going to be staying on my property, oh, by the way, we have a poison garden in our backyard. Don't go there. It's dangerous. Don't let the children go in that garden. I don't know. I also got the feeling that like Jack wanted to try to be like a father figure in some ways to the kids, like trying to help her out and be around. I just feel like Jack was such an underused character. I don't know what his purpose was in the story. The more I think about it, I'm like, his whole purpose was to be a suspect, I think, because I felt like they could have done more in the story with him as a character to either to make him more suspicious or to use him in some way. I don't know. I just felt like I was never sure what I was supposed to think about Jack. And I don't know, it just bugged me, I guess, that I wanted him to have a reason to be there. And I feel like his only reason was as a red herring. And I didn't like that. Oops. Yeah. Yeah. And he didn't matter. And he didn't matter to the story as a whole. And that was really frustrating for me. Mickey says, I was super bothered by the ending. The fact that we are supposed to decide bothers me. It felt like a cop out because the author didn't know how to wrap it up. Normally, I don't mind a vague ending or an ambiguous ending because I feel like sometimes a story can be interpreted in different ways. But I do think that in this instance, it was lazy because you could have wrapped that up better. I feel like there was not an intentional ending to the story. And again, I haven't read Turn of the Screw, and I don't know that I will because I have so many other things I have to read first that I'll probably never get there. But I wonder how the ending of that differs to the ending of this, because I get the feeling based on what Sarah told me that there's more of paranoia. You don't really know what happens in that either, but that it's not wrapped up in any sort of easy way. Whereas I feel like this, she tried to make a simple ending and it didn't quite work, I don't think. Yeah, Shannon, and they needed another sex scene, so they needed a Jack. I that bugged me that she was telling the lawyer that she had sex with him, like, TMI, like, he doesn't need to know, but I don't know. It just felt weird to me that he had no purpose. So I don't mind an ambiguous ending typically, but I don't know that the ambiguous ending worked in this story. Okay. And then I have on my in my notebook, do you think the Ellen Courts became better parents after the death of Maddie? Might they have learned from this incident? I don't think they did. And especially if she didn't tell them about what happened with Ellie, then I really don't think anything changed with them. Ooh, Shannon said, "Have you read The Mist?" I have. I like The Mist. I like that the book ending. I hated the movie adaptation. It was terrible. The way they ended that, it made me so angry. I don't think I've ever been that like just that kind of emotion angry at a show or a TV series or a movie or anything. It was terrible. Um but yeah, no, I back to what I was saying. I don't think that the Ellen Courts changed at all. I think they probably moved and then hired another nanny and went right back to square one. So, yeah. Ooh, yeah, the ending of The Mist in the movie is still to this day, like, I won't even watch that movie. I won't watch it again because I was so angry, and yeah, that was it was not what I wanted to happen. And I don't remember, it's been a long time since I read The Mist. I don't remember exact details about the ending, but it was somewhat ambiguous, but also uplifting. Like things were going to get better. And that's not the route they went in the movie, and it really, really, really bothered me. Um, and I think we've already talked about standout moments or scenes a little bit, but was there any scene or moment in the story that was like the highlight of the book for you? Because for me, I think it's the scene in the haunted attic was like the peak of the book. I got so excited reading that scene. I thought that was like probably the best part of the novel was her like discovering this creepy evil attic and figuring out what was really going on. And then the fact that she then had to like sleep in this house knowing that creepy attic was like right above her bedroom. And that was so creepy. The writing on the wall and the creepy dolls and just the dead bird, all of that was just perfection. And I wanted that to be what was happening in the story. I was so excited after that. Yes, Shannon, I was so ready for all the things because I was sure at that moment that the whole rest of the story was going to be like creepy ghosts are possessing the children, and that's what is happening. Uh yeah. And then it just didn't go anywhere near there. I was so disappointed. So yeah. So I'm glad that everyone else felt somewhat the same as me. I was nervous that I was going to come into this live show and be like, I didn't like the end, and everyone was going to be like, what? Why? So yeah. Oh yes, the shower did sound great. I will say that the idea of being able to program a perfect shower, I'm like, okay, I don't want to live in a smart house, but I would like a programmable shower because that sounded nice. It kind of reminded me of in the Hunger Games where they have all the weird like things in the bathroom and the shower in the Capitol, and Katniss is figuring it all out. I That's what I was thinking. Like we've gotten technologically advanced like Hunger Games showers. I thought that was cool. So I wanted to talk briefly about the next month's book club pick. We're going to be reading The Toll for November, but then I started thinking because November, obviously at the end of the month is Thanksgiving if you're in America, and that's usually people aren't around. And then I started thinking, well, do I want to do a December book? Because then we're running into the Christmas season. So I'm wondering how people feel about reading the Toll for the November and December book. And then we'll do the live show in like mid to late December, like before Christmas. Because one, I thought that would be easier for everybody. And that way we don't have to try to cram a book in December when everyone's really busy and traveling and stuff. And also for anyone who hasn't caught up and read Scythe and Thunderhead, this would give you a little more time to be able to read all the books before the Toll so that everyone could participate. Because I don't want anyone to feel like they can't join in because they haven't finished reading the rest of the books yet. So I think that's what we're going to do. As honestly, I haven't even finished it yet. I mean, I've read them already, but I was doing my reread and I literally just finished Scythe today. And so I still have to reread Thunderhead. And then when I get my copy of the Toll, I'm planning on like binging it in a day. I already told my kids, like, you're not going to see me. I'm going to go, I'm going to take my book, I'm going to disappear. I'll see you when I'm done. Because I'm so excited. Oh, did you get an Owl Crate one, Mickey? I did too. I was so excited. I subscribed to Owl Crate specifically so I could get my copy. So now I'm getting an Owl Crate that I don't really need, but I also got a copy of the Toll. So I'm very excited. So now Sarah can have my copy that I pre-ordered on Amazon, and then I'll have the fancy copy to read. I'm very excited, especially since I'm not going to get to go see Neal Shusterman, since he's not going to be close enough to my neck of the woods to get it signed. I'm very excited that I'll now be able to have a signed copy. So yeah, I'm so excited. Like I said, I finished reading Scythe today, and I'm so hyped. I'm so excited. I'm going to be starting Thunderhead probably next week. I don't know. I have to see what I can get through this month and see if I can fit it in or not. But I'm very, very excited to read the Toll. Oh, Ivy's going to join in. That'll be fun. My twins want to read it with me, but I'm like, wait, I can't read it that slow. I have to binge it first, and then I'll read it to you because I need it. Ooh, you got a signed one from Book Depository. Cool. Oh, Danny, I don't know if it's still available. I only heard about it a couple of days ago, and I quickly ordered an Owl Crate. I think the way it worked is you have to be a subscriber to the Owl Crate subscription service. And if you're in their system with their subscription, then they sent out an email that had a secret link where you could order a copy of the Toll that was like one of the fancy like Owl Crate editions, and it's signed and everything, but it wasn't going to be in a box. It was just the book by itself. And I was like so stressed out because they made it sound like there were hardly any copies and that you had to order it really fast because they might sell out. So I was like on my computer freaking out, like, I have to order it. I have never been so stressed out making a purchase in my life, but I got it. So, and then I was like so mad because I went back like and looked at the link. I guess they sent out a second email to like their whole, I don't even know if it went out to everyone twice, but they sent out another email about it, and I clicked the link and it was still available. I'm like, why did you make it sound like there was like 3 copies? So I don't know, but I got it. So that's all that matters. So I'm very excited to get my copy and read it because I have so many things that I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen. I don't know. And reading Scythe again was really fun because I saw a whole bunch of things that I like missed the first time I read it, because I read it. This is my first reread of the series. So when I initially read it, I missed a lot of things. So I'm very excited to have our discussion for that, because I'm thinking, well, we're going to be discussing the Toll, but we'll probably also be talking about Scythe and Thunderhead too, because it's the whole thing. So I'm very, very excited for that. And also Sarah will be here for that one because she'll be on break. I think we're going to probably do the live show like the day she comes home, because that's, I think, the 19th of December. So that should be early enough in the month that people are hopefully still around and can join in. So I didn't want to do it like on Christmas break when everyone's out of town or busy with family visiting or stuff. So anyway, that's my plan, is we'll do the Toll as a November and December book club pick, so that we won't have a live show in November because it'll be in December for that book. And so that's the goal. And then in January we'll go back to our normal book a month plan. So that's about all I have to talk about for the book Turn of the Key, really, because I think we've covered everything. I can't think of anything else to pull out, but I'm very excited to read The Toll because this was a slightly disappointing book that we read this month, and I'm looking forward to having a book that I'm like really excited about and that I know I'm going to enjoy. Like, Neil Shusterman hasn't let me down yet. So I'm counting on it being great. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me and ranting about the Turn of the Key. It was a lot of fun. And I will see you guys next time in December when we talk about The Toll. So thanks so much for coming, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye.